I want to thank you for sharing your energy and your time with me. Greatness is yours once you claim it. I'm Keystone, a synthesizer of energy, frequencies, and information for those who do not know who they are or the power they possess. This is Code Red. We want you to go inside yourself, retrace your steps, and learn to fully absolve and let go of all the drama, hurt, pain, worry, anything that's been thriving inside of you, and learn to allow yourself to transcend into a healthier state of being. Welcome to the introspection you've been expecting. Today's topic is going to be about directing your energy. And this is going to be speaking on how you're going to have to take control over what's inside of you to get control on what's outside of you. The way that have been living life and how we ended up in how we're currently, the state that we're in, is because we've been doing everything as backwards as it's been designed to do. We have and we are continuously searching for things outside of us to repair and to fix anything and everything that's inside. That's backwards. We are a generator. Energy and thought, everything is contained within our vessel. So anything that we think, anything that we put our intentions toward and effort, it's up to us to quote unquote make it happen. But until that happens, it's going to be things that happens to us. And that puts us on the lower end of the spectrum, on the power spectrum, the cause and effect. So today is going to be something that hopefully, I don't even use hopefully, today will be something that should build you up or at least plant a seed. So if not today, in the future, once it makes sense to you, then you'll go forward. But as far as what I'm going to be speaking on today is just going to be different ways that by you not choosing to control what you do and allowing somebody else to make those decisions for you and then impose them on you, and you have to do them willingly or not, but you put yourself in that position. So that's the thing. You got to take accountability for your energy. Like I said, reasons or results is to get to where you want to go, you have to create more results than reasons. If you're heavily on the reason side, life is going to be extremely difficult. As you get older, it's going to be even more difficult. So the sooner or the sooner you can implement it within your life, the sooner things around you will improve. So one thing I learned early on is that in order to change things around you, you have to change what's inside of you. Once you change what's inside of you, by you adapting and growing and evolving to be that better person, more of a perfect version of yourself, everything outside of you has to change its orbit around you. Because you coming in with your power, something on a lower frequency can't do what it used to do to you when you were on that lower frequency as well. Once you raise your frequency and step into your power and own it, you're unbeatable. Until then, you're going to continuously get beat up. That's the simple of it. All right, so as far as directing your energy, just want to touch on a few basic things. Energy is this universe. There's nothing in existence that didn't come from energy. And then at some point, it adds to something else's energy. And its energy came from somewhere else. So energy is in a constant state. Energy never rests. So they say energy never dies. It transfers. Energy never dies. It transfers. And we are energetic beings. If you can't accept that, that is your decision. But you're in motion. You're either looking at this or you clicked off or you clicked on. You're about to sit down. You walked. Energy. That's all this is. And in this dimension, when you grab those natural laws and you can see that this is all by divine creation and this was put here for us. Now, how can we enjoy this divine creation if we don't accept that we are divine ourselves? we have accepted the status of a damn serf by a handful of people that got the world by the balls because the world doesn't know they are the power, not the people that they create legislators or the people that make the rules or enforce the rules and just impose their will upon you. They impose their will upon you because you're on your knees bowing down. Once you stand up and look at them in the eye, they can see that, they ain't they're not playing anymore. Oh, okay, so shoot, what we gonna do? But until that happens, they're gonna continuously kick you in your ass. All right, so as far as you directing your energy, like I said, it starts from within and is generated by your thoughts, your mental. How you think about yourself, what you say about yourself, how you feel about yourself, just everything is generated within you. So if you decide not to use your generator to put out or to have a powerful output that's beneficial to you, you're going to have the other side of the spectrum, which is going to be the weaker version, which is going to be the sorrow, the hurt, the fear. So we've been trained to be so efficient with killing, but not creating. So that's one of my reasons I want to bring that to people's attention, that we are creators. And as I share with my nephews and younger relatives, I share that this world, you're either a consumer or a creator. There's no in between. You're one or the other. And the thing is you need to create more than you consume. So when you look at the universe as far as balance, those that consume are taking more than they're adding. Creators are adding more than they're taking. See, what it is, we have been programmed and trained to be consumers. So I hear the talk as far as, who has the highest economic dollar. That's not anything to brag about. What that means is that you're a whole people full of consumers that don't understand that it's about creating. Until that is established and understood, comprehended and understood, it's still going to be the same thing. So, brown people would say, oh, we the biggest economic power and we got the spending power, so on and so forth. But whenever I hear that, I never hear the benefit of it. Like, okay, then we need to galvanize, so-and-so need, just put things together. But it's always from the context of a consumer. Never saying, okay, well, shoot, let's take our consumer dollars and let's create something. That's the difference between a creator and a consumer. Cool, you spend all your money. That's what they want. I'm in business. Yeah, please spend all your money with me. But that's what it is. They don't mind. Okay, you're gonna talk mess and you're gonna get frustrated, so on and so forth. But you'll be back tomorrow. Or if you're not back tomorrow, you'll be back next week. Well, if you don't come back, there's gonna be about 3, 4, or 5 others that's gonna take your place. So it's just a cycle. And as long as you're a consumer, you're on the weak part of the power spectrum. The creators create, they add to the universe. Consumers take. So everybody that knows that if you want to get more, you give more. That's the universal law of compensation. On the other end, when you take more, you get less. So these are maybe the some first time hearing that, but the more that you take, the less that you get. The more that you give is the more that you get. Sounds backwards, but that's the way that man presented it to us. So it sounds confusing. So if somebody like myself is sharing information with you, I sound insane. I'm quite aware of that, but I'm far beyond the fear of what you think. So as a child, we enter this dimension. We're a clean slate, like this board. And from day one, we're programmed on how we should act and what we should do by those around us, primarily our parents, because those are our first teachers. Then we have our siblings, and then close relatives, uncle, aunts, extended family, so on and so forth. Then you get to school, middle school, high school, then you go, but along the way, you're conditioned to think a certain way. This can't happen unless that happens, and only this person can do that. So it's all these stipulations and parameters put around anything that you could do. So as you get older, you start to believe that everything that you hear is true and that you are just basically a happenstance. You're here in this dimension by some random, I ain't gonna say mistake, but yeah, some random mistake. You just happen to be here, and since you're here, you have to have a minute existence in this big dimension. And the only way that you can feel that you have a minute existence in this dimension, it has to be told to you. Then it has to be beaten to you and driven into you, and you have to live it. You have to experience it on a daily basis. Many examples any and everywhere. So the thing is that's why we end up as we are, because we don't know who we are. And then once somebody expresses who you are, you don't accept it because it's counter to what you've been told and who you've been told you are. So to make a transition to get yourself where you say you want to go, you're going to have to accept you as you. And since everything is energy, energy comes from a generator, which is a source. Okay, so whatever the power, whatever the energy, it has to have a root, a nucleus somewhere. So anything inside of you that you do, any actions, you're a generator. In other words, you're a God. I don't understand how you can be a God and then can't say that you're God. You get beat up. So, but it's easy to accept you if you say that you feel like the Antichrist or the devil. It's okay for you to put yourself down and say, yeah, I'm at my lowest, but when you know who you are, you step into your power and this is your essence, then you should claim your godliness. But please comprehend that that is just a word to say ultimate being or whatever, but God is just a noun. It's not a name, it's a noun. If God was the name of God, would all of those movies, shows, songs have the word God in it? Think about it. If the word was truly, if that was his name, so every time you call that show, you're calling his name. How silly is that? Think about it. That's silly. No, the Almighty God, but then you're going to go home and watch the blah, blah, blah gods or the God of blah, blah, blah. And he said, I wash away the BS and this is what's exposed. This is what's left. So let's deal with this. Don't worry about all that sideshow stuff. So again, God is a noun. It is not a name. Just like, for instance, you're walking down the street in the crowd and somebody's yelling, boy, boy, or man, man. That's not your name. That's a noun. So within a crowd of people, the only people going to turn around are the ones that are nosy because they want to see what boy they're talking about, unless that happens to be their name, which is a title. That's what a name is. So, all right, so speaking to the gods, if you're not a god, stay on the sideline and watch how we operate. All right, so I want to do this dealing with kind of going to tie it into the economy, because with the talk that I'm hearing and, with the economy as it is, people are not grasping the concept of the value of that money that they're being given or that's being created out of thin air and given to them. Supply and demand. The higher the supply, the lower the value. The lower the supply, the higher the value. So if you could think about all the influx of currency that they're infusing into the economy, at one point in time before all this silliness kicked off, the last I checked, I believe the dollar only retained 5% of its original value from 1913 when the Federal Reserve issued these notes that we carry around. So in 1913 or 1923, excuse me on the year, but the dollar, you got 100 pennies, $1. By the time you got to 2000 teens, close to the 20s, that same dollar in 1923 or 1913, I get it right, that was 100 pennies. 2000 something, basically almost 100 years later, is down to 5 cents. So since this stuff jumped off, if before this stuff jumped off a year or two or three before this stuff, and it was only 5% of its value, it retained only 5% of its original value when it was established, what do you think it's worth now? So when I shared in my other, video that the system is crumbled, it is destroyed, everybody is caught up in this receiving this cash or this currency. They don't see everything else because everybody has tunnel vision. But the world is wide. Just ask the web. But that's what it is. You can't have tunnel vision. You have to see things on a broader scale. Everything connects to everything. So that amount of money that you're going to be receiving or have received came from somewhere for a purpose. So all that is doing, and think of the name of it. It's called a stimulus. Stimulus, which means it stimulates. So basically what you're telling the people that's handing out these stimuluses is that you are frozen and suspended in time until they put the quarter in your back. You guys got to wake up. Start seeing things for what it is. This is a direct sleight of hand to put your ass in shackles. Can you see this? Shackles keep you away from shekels. So it could be shackles on your feet, shackles on your shackles on your ankles, shackles on your wrists, or shackles of your mind, spirit, anything. Keep you from shekels, which is money, which is a representation of energy. So by trapping yourself, you keep yourself away from energy. By trapping yourself or allowing yourself to be trapped, you won't get them shekels. All right, so this is what we're going to do today. All right, these two numbers here, you got 1920, 8760. 1920, 8760. With the other video, one of the first things, a few things I learned that was very, very interesting to me and very impactful. Even at the time, I didn't do anything with it, but it stayed with me. And again, what I did back then has brought me to this point right where I am right now. So this number right here, what was asked of me? The gentleman asked me, do I know how many hours there are in a year? And I looked like, I never thought about that before. I mean, it's 24 hours in a day. What I need to know how many hours in a year is. So when he told me 8,760, I said, oh, okay, interesting. It's like, to me, that was like knowing how many minutes, second, you know, just, oh, okay, good trivia. You know, if I'm playing a game where that may be the bonus word, or, you know, the bonus question, hey, hopefully I cash in on it. But at the time where I was, I didn't fully comprehend that when he asked me and told me the answer, 8,760 hours are in a year. So what he did, he broke it down to me. He said, this is how wealthy people calculate their money. 8,760 a year. So that means for every hour in a year, they are generating currency or value. Every hour of the year. That's how they calculate their wealth. So now it's 1920. Unfortunately, 1920, that's where the major majority of everybody is at. So these are just figures, you know, numbers just to drive home, to help me with this message, to assist me with this message. So 1920 is the amount of hours the regular 40-hour employee works a year. This 1920 is the total amount of hours the normal 40-hour employee works in a year. I'm not saying overtime and, oh, if I got this and vacation. I don't do the little nitpicky things. Okay, one little variable changes it up. I'm just addressing it. So if you understand this, or comprehend this, it's for you. But if you want to break it down and say, well, if I work part-time here, then part-time, whatever, just use 40 hours times 4, which give you for the month, and then times it by 12, you're going to get 1920. To get 8,760, you take 24 times 365. So these numbers, there's a big discrepancy between these numbers. See, the unfortunate thing right here is that the people that the regular 40-hour employee had the mindset that their primary purpose when they wake up is to go to that plantation. And when I say plantation, I'm talking a job. Because a job is a plantation. I didn't say a cotton plantation. I didn't say a soybean plant. It is a plantation. So, again, when you wake up, your first priority in your mind is to get to that job. Let me get to this plantation. Let me clock in. Let me get my hours for the day. Make it through the week, and whoo, I'm good to go. So, this is how it's designed to jack your mind up. Anytime that you're not at that job, what do they refer to it as? Anytime that you're not on the clock at that plantation, what do they refer to that time as? Or even yourself? I used to do so until all this clicked in. It's called your free time. So anytime you're not on the plantation, that is your free time. That's how you call it. Within conversation, your free time, what you do in your free time? Okay, well, if you're not doing anything on your free time, how about you come do something, we do something together on our free time. But when it's not free time is when you're on that plantation. So by you being on that plantation, meaning there's a structure over you, hierarchy. And you got to produce. Regardless of how you feeling, they give you a few days of vacations and so on and so on. Not vacation, vacation time, or PTO, or anything that the law says they have to provide you by being on that plantation. Because I'm sure that many people can feel me when I say this. If it was up to them, you probably wouldn't have no days off. You take off if you want to. Somebody else going. We took like 20 applications last week. So if you feel you need a day off, I don't know if your code gonna work tomorrow. So you have that pressure. You know what I'm saying? So, you got to go to that plantation because you have obligations. And again, I don't not acknowledge what people are going through in their lives, but I'm speaking from a point of until you change that, it's always going to be the same. At what point is it going to be where this stuff don't make sense or this is not enough? This is what I want. So you have to begin the process to get to that point. Just talking about it is cool, you know what I'm saying? But talking is not action. The act of talking is action, but there's no action put forth what you're talking about. Again, the act of talking is action, but there's no action being put toward what you're talking about or speaking about. So by your free time being where you're not at the job, your whatever paid time, I guess if that's the other phrase, I guess you would call that time is your paid time, you're on that plantation. So the mindset of the average 40-hour employee is that they only can make money right here. Any other time after that, you have the reasons. Oh, I'm tired. Oh man, I got to do this. I got to go that. Oh, I got to catch my show. I got to take a nap. You got reasons, and rightfully so. Not judging, but I used to have a lot of reasons, and I learned that once you start minimizing the reasons and maximizing the results, it's a damn good shift of energy and feeling and sensation and execution and so on and so forth. So what has to happen is that this 1920 person has to decide to do something different, better themselves. But it's only going to come once you speak on it and then you actually do it. So the 8,760, they live in a world that everything is theirs. It's abundance. And if there's money on the floor, they're going to do their damnedest to be the only ones that pick it up. They feel they're entitled to it because the world is an abundant world. By nature, nature provided a world of abundance for us. Scarcity is a man's idea. So when you think about it, just for instance, they say that the world's about to be overpopulated and everybody buys into it. So I want to share this. So we're dealing with energy, words are power. And I remember when I heard this before and I was like, wow, it makes total sense because that's what it does. The bigger the number you get. The bigger the number you get. So take that, ingest it, let it process, allow it into your soul. So when you're watching these boxes with these people speaking to you, they're always throwing numbers at you. Numbers at you. 5,000 this, 20,000 this, 20 million this, numbers. That's all they do. They bombard you. Numbers. Because numbers make you numb. So we're going to numb you up with all these numbers. Now you're a sitting duck. And sitting ducks get plugged. So now these people, they're not affected by what's said, but like these people, because these people know things. They know that the world is abundant. They know that whatever they fix in their head and set their intentions toward, they achieve and accomplish. If they don't do it that time, they got other things in motion. So there's another thing. So, to everybody pretty much knows the law that they hear, you got to have at least 7 streams of income to become a millionaire. And, I'm sure there's other things that people have. So if you have anything, go ahead, drop it in the comment box. And I appreciate all information. I'm just sharing what I know. Again, this is me sharing my journal, what I went through to get to this point, and information that I have that if it helped me, not if it helped me, it helped me. So I know it's going to help somebody out there. At least just one person. So as the people and stuff that I've acquired or came across, I'm sure the same as they're sitting in front of the camera and speaking information and I'm receiving it. They're in front of the camera, just, hey, all I need to is give it, effect one. And then outside of that, that's my therapy. This is my release. So I'm filled with information. So I'm expounding mine so I can get my next download of information that's going to build and compact on top of what I already possess. So it's about a constant evolution. And I truly understand that and accept that life is always about learning. The ones that get comfortable and don't want to grow are right there. I'm cool, man. I've been here 5 years and I make decent money. I always want to raise, but I'm cool, man. Got some cool employees. It's not too far from the house. I understand my assignments. You know what I'm saying? I understand it like clockwork. Well, how about you attempt to be, supervisor or manager or go to another department? Oh no, man, I ain't doing all that, man. I ain't getting on no computer, man. I just want to come to work, do my job, and go home. I'm sure many have heard that before, man. I don't want to do all that. I just want to come do my job and go home. Which rightfully so, everybody doesn't want to be that independent on the company, but it happens and it's said many a times. So then what ends up happening, because all that depends on how you value you. Once you are a high value person and you have self-worth that's beyond what is given to you from the outside, you're going for what you know and what you desire. And once you start making moves for you, outside of you start to notice, like, oh, whoa, whoa, he's trying to leave? No, it seems like he's trying to break away. Where's he going? Oh, no, what? That's what happens. Once you make a decision to move, those that's not moving are staying still. And the further you get away from them, the better off you get, because that's stale energy. Like I said, energy doesn't die, it transfers. So if you're not growing, you're dying. If you're not expanding, you're dying. Or you're contracting. You're drawing in. There's no life, there's no blood flow. You're not generating energy. So anything that doesn't have energy draws in and it withers. So just look at flowers, no more, I guess water. Moisture going through the stem and everything to get to the buds. Once you cut it, put it in your vase or whatever, and you cut it. So whatever's inside it is going to maintain, and once it is done, it's done. It's going to wither away and it's gone. Well, not gone physically, but it's not alive anymore. This is what we do to ourselves. And that's what I used to do to myself. I would prioritize the job over me. Over time, oh, okay, yeah, I could do that. Oh, yeah, shoot, I could do this, yeah. But the thing is, as I got older, my mind was focused on business and producing and creating and generating. By me shifting my mind and directing the direction of my energy, my life followed. So we live a life until we make that decision that we're following life, because life is what happens outside of us. So switch it around. Lead your life the way that you feel your life should be. Don't let your life dictate you. All right. So 1920. These are scarcity. Abundance. Polar opposites. Where's the power at out of these two? Is there power in scarcity or is there power in abundance? It's power in abundance. So what I was saying earlier, and I got off of it for a second, but when it comes to scarcity and being told and verifying information, we are told that there is an overpopulation, or the world's about to be overpopulated. Okay, now, like I said, numbers none. And they throwing, almost 9 billion people in the world and blah, 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 blah. Damn, 9 billion people, woo-wee. Well, but damn, how's that going to be the world overpopulated? And then who's to say it is 9 million? You know what I'm saying? There's nobody able to go verify anything that's said to us on TV, newspaper, anything, unless you're right there at the source. But we're not. So that's where your intuition comes in, and you have to be able to decipher and distinguish between BS and what's real and what's the truth. So 9 billion people on this planet, right? Okay, sound like, definitely. I wouldn't mind having that in the amount of currency. But when they say it's a overpopulation thing, where? I've driven from coast to coast, from East Coast to West Coast, from West Coast to East Coast. And I know that I've driven probably collectively over 1,000 or so miles of just land with no people on it. Nobody. So in my mind, I'm like, well, shoot, we can just ride down Interstate 40, or is it 70, whatever one, coast to coast. And shoot, that's where we put the overflow of people. That's silly, you know what I'm saying? Just look out whatever state you're in. There's so much land, there's an abundance of it. Man creates scarcity for control. So by creating scarcity, this is how you locked into here. Because you feel if you lose this, you're not going to be able to get anything. If you get fired from here or anything, you're scared. You're scared, you know what I'm saying? So they got you by the nuts. Yeah, we're going to work 40 days straight, overtime, mandatory. What you going to do? Abundance. Ever flowing, more than you can ever imagine, more than you can use. So what ends up happening is that because what I shared in my video yesterday is that these are the people that don't comprehend their lifestyle and what they go through. These people say these people are evil. They're stingy, they're greedy, whatever else they want to say. But I'm going to share with you again, everything is energy. So I think it was gentleman. So this gentleman, I'm gonna bring his name up in a quick second, but just to brief you on him. When I remember hearing his name when I was younger and didn't know much about him at all because I was younger, but it was never anything good. So within my process to get to where I am now, I came across him past 2 to 3 years. Listened to him, but this past year and a half or so, yeah, getting heavy doses of it. And the way that he put it, he says that the reason why these people can't get wealthy is because they talk bad about money. They feel bad about money. They're scared of money. They feel money is evil. So he put it in the reference of money is a woman. And if you talk bad about that woman, do you think that woman is going to want to be around you? Again, money is energy. Money feels energy. Energy attracts energy. Like energy attracts like energy. So if you feel that being wealthy is evil and bad and vile and greedy, so on and so forth, money's cool. Like, okay, well, shoot, I don't even need to go over there. So I'm gonna stay over here. because what ends up happening again, like energy attracts like energy. So once they get their first million or whatever, they understand the rules. Then that first million or that 1 million go get 2 million. So basically, what I share to people, I say, I tell my currency to go get more of his friends, go recruit more currency for me. That's how you have to start looking at money. Money is energy. When you look at money, one second. So when you begin to look at this as more than paper, as only paper, this keeps you here because it's scarcity. And this is paper and it's called money, and this is the way that we're taught. Over here, it's energy. Opposite ends of the spectrum. Over here is paper, which is material. This is energy. And I'm sure through the amount of schooling that most of us have went through, you learn that something solid cannot move like something that you can't see. Something that you can see that's tangible, something that you can't even see or smell or hear. It's air, it's energy. So these over here understand how to control the energy. They understand what money truly is. Money is something of value that can be harvested by manpower. That's how you get something that's of value. That's money. Over here, we get Federal Reserve notes, promissory notes, promise to pay. So the people that created the structure, the bankers and so on and so forth, you go dedicate your time on the plantation and they give you plantation currency. That's only good to be spent on the plantation of. And the only way that you can spend this money from this plantation out of this country is if you go to a country that does business with over here. It's about value. Yeah, they don't mind messing with that paper, but they want assets. Over here are liabilities. Okay, so now liabilities. Liabilities are what you're responsible for. So this economy is structured for the poor to have all the liabilities and for the wealthy to have all the assets. Again, all the poor, liabilities, over here, assets. A liability is something that goes outward, your currency. So what I've grown up hearing, but I know it's ass backwards now, is that your house is your biggest investment. That is that is a asset. That was what I heard. Get you a house, that's an asset, that's so on and so forth. And so you grow up thinking that. So you go through life, you do the job and you get your credit, so on and so forth. And then you go get the house and you feel like, whoa, man, I got me an asset, but that's wrong. A liability is outgoing. You're paying out. How can that be an asset unless what you're paying out is coming back in an increased amount? But I've never seen that happen when somebody's paying out for whatever they have. Now, if it was coming back, that would be an investment and it will not be a liability. That investment will be over here as an asset. There's a very, very distinct difference. Your house alone, now, if you was to get multiple houses, or if you purchased that house to put on the market to rent out or to do some Airbnb or to do something with it, then that moves it from a liability to an asset. But if you're just living in that house, that is a liability. Not knocking that you have a house, but please put everything in perspective. It's nothing personal. This is what's going on, and this has been constructed to keep you right here. Now, the 8760 people, that's all they want is assets. Everything's about an asset. That's how their value is liquid. I mean, they're able to take value from here and pour it over here. Okay, but this is messing up over here, so I'm going to put something over here. Okay, I'm going to take these resources and put them over here. So they're flexible. They have many different things. So what assets do, or what assets are the polar opposite of this liability. Liability is outward, asset is inward. So assets increase the net worth of the owner. So as an asset, they don't live in the houses that they purchase. Purchase them, fix them up, rent them out, or whatever they do with them, or any business that they do, they're only worried about assets. So another thing is liabilities. That's how they have control over you. This is a debt-based society, a society based off of debt. Debt is used to control. When you owe someone, they own you until you clear that debt. When you owe someone, they own you. So, right here, your car is a liability, but it gets you from A to B and everything in between while you're traveling. The house is a liability. You get to sleep there and house all your things while you're away all day and get to come back to your things that are housed inside the house. Cool. Nothing wrong with that, but when you look at it and put it in perspective, and if you intend to improve your situation, these are small, minute things that has to be accepted and implemented within yourself or whoever your circle of influence is to even pretend that you're going to step in this direction. So real quick, what I want to do now, so I've kind of, delved in, what I want you to do. So you see the discrepancy of right here and right here. The 1920. So what I want you to do is how much you make a year. So let's say, you make 50,000 a year, divided by the 1920, you got how much you make an hour. Okay? All right, and your 8760, what they do, and it's a big difference of the numbers, is that you take what you make and you divide it by 8760. And depending on what you make, that number is going to drop off tremendously. Because I believe 50,000 right here, I forgot what that come up to, but I'm not doing that. But it's 8760. This is going to drop your dollar amount per hour down to like anywhere, depending on what you make, anywhere from $2 an hour up to probably like 3 to 7. That's about the average range. An hour, that's for the year. So 365 every hour, every pass of the hand to complete an hour, you're going to make, in your mind, the way they got us thinking when we're 1920 workers, is that, man, okay, I make $25 an hour, $20 an hour, man. Okay, shoot, I'm getting it. But then when you divide it by 8,760, that knocks it down to like $2 and some change or something an hour. So now what I want you to do, I would like you a dollar figure, either somebody that you admire, your star, your business person, whoever, and take somebody that makes seven figures or plus and divide that by 8,760. And you're going to see numbers that people are making like a couple thousand an hour, hundreds of thousands an hour, even millions an hour. That's a huge difference from a 1920 employee looking at their money on the scale of 8,760. So with that being said, look at the discrepancy of the hours. So all the hours in a year is 8,760. The regular 40-hour work week employee, 1,920. So that leaves 5,000 plus hours available for the 1920 worker. But the majority of the 1920 workers do not take time and utilize that 5,000 hours plus of available time to increase their worth, their value, or even anything, to become a creator rather than a consumer. So with 5,000 available hours left for the year, after you do your dedicated 40 to the plantation, what's the excuse? It's a choice. Again, reasons or results. If you got more reasons than results, this is for you. Once you learn to move to where now you have more results than reasons, you start to move in this direction. And to get over here in this, you have to vibrate on a whole totally different frequency and vibration. Your thoughts, your talk, your association, your affiliation, your education, your knowledge, speech. You have to know the code to even affiliate. Do you even know where to meet people? You know what I'm saying, that live like this? And if you do meet them, are you able to communicate to them or with them? Oh man, I ain't worried about talking to them. Cool. That is a choice. But the funny thing about people and the universe is that those who are helping themselves, people have no problem helping. So the people over here will have no problem helping people over here if the people over here was helping themselves. So again, these people don't understand these people. These people definitely don't understand these people. So just as an example, right now everybody, the economy is crashing and so on and so forth, which it is, but it's way worse than what people acknowledge. But it is. So people over here, waiting for that stimulus. These people over here, like, what? Again, my appetizers cost $500. And better yet, we stay in a loft, or not even a suite. I'm just gonna call it a loft, where I can pull my yacht up and get out on deck and walk to my room or my compound or whatever. I pay $25,000 a day for that. Now, somebody that pays $25,000 a day to on a compound, beach, whatever, but they could take their yacht and pull up and get out and walk, $25,000 a day. Now you can imagine how many people over here don't even make that in a year. $25,000 a day for a room or whatever, $25,000 yearly income with family, kids, and bills. That's why there's a struggle, because you're not utilizing your 5,000 hours. You got everybody, these people and these people. You know what they have in common? They get the same 24 hours in a day. Same 24. Most of these people are up at 4:30 in the morning. By the time some of these get up, they've done a half of a or longer or more of a work week. 4:30 in the morning, prepping themselves for the day or making their calls, emails, or whatever, however they have the day planned out. Wake up, drink some water, meditate, do some push-ups, sit-ups, work out, jog. Then gets to a certain point, okay, now start to contact people because now the people they deal with are up and they're in motion. So now let me prep myself for my day. Maybe eat some breakfast, maybe not. Get themselves together, have, whatever business they do. Right here, you got to be at work at 10 o'clock or whatever time you got to be at, whatever time you have to report. More than likely, when I was, I'm getting up minutes before I need to be there. But that's the mindset. Like, shoot, man. And then, I'm going to tell you something that's funny. I think about it now, but not until I changed my mindset did I not perform differently at the job. But then what I was able to achieve and able to do change because of me changing my mind. But when I was in the 1920 mindset, they talked about, I remember a specific plantation, they said, we clock in at, say, 2 o'clock. So the time clock was a ways from the station I was at. So the HR lady, it's a plantation, straight up. That's where I start calling. And once I worked there, that's when I was like, oh man, this is a plantation. Like it was, but anyways, that's the way they treated everybody. And me and myself, nah, you ain't gonna talk to me like that. I mean, I understand you're in your position, but you ain't gonna talk to me like that. They may accept it, but nah, not for me. So what was going on is, hey, you got to clock in at 2 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? So she said to me, you need to be at your station ready to work at 2 o'clock. And I said, I hear you, but my job description says my job starts at 2. Now, if you want me to be at my workstation and ready to work at 2 o'clock, then you need to take that time clock and you put it at the workstation. She couldn't say nothing about it, but that's because I'm able to think beyond just a 1920, regular 1920 employee. That was at the kind of beginning of me really stepping into what I'm becoming. And no apologies. Like, no, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to speak for me. I'm not speaking for them. If they choose to keep their mouth quiet, that is on them. But as far as me, this is what it is. And that's how it goes. But until you are able to speak up for yourself, you already see how life is going for you. So the unfortunate, the thing is you got the opportunity to attempt something different. If you don't stand up for yourself, try it, attempt it, give it a shot. May not work the first couple of times, but that's because you don't fully believe and know that that's who you are. Once you get evidence that you are who you're supposed to be, or you're evolving toward, and you start to see it, you can feel it, you breathe it, and you begin to live it. Then it becomes contagious again. Once you change what's inside of you, you change and affect everything outside of you. You reverse everything. You become the power and not on the opposite end as the weaker. You become the person that starts something. They become the reaction. That's a difference. Rather than them starting something and you reacting. That's how we live our life. That's what keeps us over here. So, what the purpose of that story was just to say that was my time. You know what I'm saying? If you want me to be there at work at 2 o'clock, put the clock there and that's what I'm going to do. But as, it went on, and then with the next plantation I went to, I got to, I was still evolving. But when I got to the point, well, shoot, I don't want to do the regular stuff. I know that I can do far beyond what they got me doing now. So what has to happen is, okay, I have to show that I'm in that class. Not that I have to prove it, but shoot, to me, I'm going to change my energy. I'm going to refuse negativity. You popping off your mouth, as long as you don't put your hands on me, we're good. Say what you want, call me what you want. I'm cool because you wasting your energy on me. And then that's at that time I truly understood that it's up to me to feed into negativity. That's the other thing that I want to bring to your attention. Nothing, no emotion can exist inside of you without your participation. No emotion can no emotion can exist inside of you without your participation. You have to participate in that emotion. So if you have to participate in that emotion in order for it to take over or to be presented outwardly, that means you have the potential to stop it or to change it. What I refer to, and people trip, but that's alchemy. You throw negative energy at me, I'm gonna put the spin on it and the shine and appreciate it into something positive. And if I can't get the positive out of it, I discharge it and I remove myself. I don't allow myself to get drawn into things. Like I said, I never claim perfection. I'm still a work in progress, but I'm far further along than I used to be. Way further along. Again, as I shared before, that first day in church, going on my own, blessed be those who are not offended of me. From that day, that was my mission. When I leave out, I'm going to work each day not to get offended. I'm not going to get offended. I'm not saying, again, I'm not claiming perfection, but I'm way further along than I used to be. So, with that attitude, with that mindset already established within myself, was nothing that could be done to me. Get threatened, guys want to do this and do that. And so, as I say, while you watching me, I'm in motion. You're standing still. So if you want to do something that somebody else is doing, why don't you build yourself up or find out what it takes to do that and then put yourself in a position that you can do it? But that's hard. It's easier to stand and talk about somebody or something, criticize, break them down. Yeah, you can't minimize me. I've already done that all my life. There's nothing that you can say to me or about me that I haven't done 20 trillion times worse. But the thing is, now I'm on the other end of the spectrum. The pendulum is swinging the other way. So when I was at my lowest, super duper duper low, it's it's the other direction. But that's intentional. You have to set yourself that way. So the 1920 employees, the 40-hour work week people got to desire to change the way that you do things and the way that you look at things. The way that everybody that's around, before I get into it, I'll tell you this. When I first heard that if you want to be better than everything going on, do the opposite of the majority of the people. When I heard that early on in my process, definitely sounded like ridiculous. But as I've grown and came back, that's true. And right now, this is the perfect example. People want to go get stuff put in their body that didn't come from nature. I'm nature. It has to be a decision. You want health to get wealth. You got to have health to get wealth. If you get broken down because of chemicals and the reactions of unknown ingredients that's shoved into you, you can't get wealth because you don't have health. Look at the diet. When we go to a restaurant, who's to say we getting real food? I'm sure many people are gonna be heartbroken, but them steaks that you eating, who's to say those were whole steaks? Or either from the grocery store. You know, there's something called meat glue. Here they take chunks and scraps of meat, put them together with the meat glue with some pressure, wrap it in plastic. After so many minutes, it's ready to go to the store and somebody gonna pay top dollar for it. Over here, they're eating soul food. Soul food meaning from the sun, S-O-L. The S-O-U-L food that we have is almost the worst diet that you can have in the world. Yeah, I grew up eating baked macaroni and cheese. I don't eat chitlins at all, but family did. Chopped pork barbecue, ribs, cornbread, mashed potatoes, candied yams, sweet tea. Tastes good for the palate. But for the palace, it's not good. Again, it's good for the palate, but it's hell to the palace. Again, as I said, we're not supposed to be eating meat. People are going to counter it, but meat wasn't consumed when we first hit the earth. There was vegetables. A specific type of being began eating meat and spread that to worldwide. If they eat meat, they're eating real meat. Top choice. Tip top choice. Vegetables, high frequency stuff. Their water, everything that they do is of another level compared to here. Over here, we settle. Over here, they don't. We look at 1920, look at price. They look at value. This costs $200. Oh man, that's $200. Oh man, that's gonna be, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that, man. That's $200. Over here, okay, that's $2,500. Okay, cool, let's do it. Because they know that's an investment. So now, see, and then that's the other thing. Okay, I forgot about the gentleman. So the one that was talking about the money, being a woman. So the mindset over here, the 40-hour work week, this is evil. So I can guarantee that these people are lying if they say they want to be wealthy. They're lying. Because if they are truthful, or if they're telling the truth, they're saying for the rest of their life, they want to wake up, take a shower, and do whatever they do, get in their car, travel to the plantation, get out their car, the plantation, work, come on back home, and then wake up and do the same thing. And right here, that's the life they say that's for them. And if it is for them, that's fine. But what that is a low sense of self-value, self-worth. Once your self-worth increases, your net worth increases. Over here, this is fun. Yeah, it's tough, it's competitive, but this is fun. They're loving what they're doing. When you love what you do, the universe rewards you. It becomes a game. It's fun. This is work. Not many people like to work. This is fun. So the mindset of the people over here about the people over here, oh, they're greedy. So what I like to ask is, if you're an athlete, okay, is there such thing as being too fast, being too strong? If you're not an athlete, as an artist, or anything is having the perfect touch with the brush, the pianist, or anything, is there anything as being too good at that? Is there anything wrong with that? Excuse me. Is that something to look at? Is that something to look down at? No, it's not. The difference is that it's accepted over here to be good at something else. But once you're able to, from here, and put the mindset over here and apply that same logic and theory, it's the same thing. These over here are just better at generating currency. Okay, they already, man, they got 20 million, they got enough. Okay, so you named an athlete in their prime. In their prime. All right, man, you already scored or you did whatever. Okay, that's enough. They'll look at you like you're crazy. That's what they do. This is their sport. And it's out there for everybody. But over here, it's closed off. So what it is creating self-worth and value. So I said before in one of my other videos, what's the difference of somebody that makes $20 an hour compared to somebody that makes 50? The only thing difference is that the person that makes $20 an hour doesn't know what it takes to make 50. And the other thing is that when it comes to compensation for your energy, you are compensated the direct amount of the value that you're able to provide. The direct amount of value that you provide. So if you want to make 40 or however much an hour, you have to be able to provide that much value, or excuse me, 10 times that much value in order to get that from an employer. If you can't provide 10 times that value, it's really, sometimes it may or may not happen. So being over here is very insulting. So let me go back to my plantation job, the one where I was in the beginning of this transition of stepping into my own. So in between jobs, went to a temp agency, and I heard that this place was hiring and it was real easy to get into. So went through the process, got in, and man, okay, cool. So the thing that was the benefit was after 90 days, you pretty much got just, you became permanent. Whoo, what? What better situation can that be? Okay, all I gotta do is make it 3 months, and I'm official. Okay, so my mindset was okay. Let me go through this process. So at the end of my 3 months, I go talk to the HR lady, the little plantation. She sat me at the desk, so I'm sitting there looking at the computer, doing the orientation. She's going through the little slideshow. So I'm okay. All right, waiting to get to this money thing, because what I was making, I'm like, shoot, I'm about to be on permanent, so I know I'm getting an increase. You know what I'm saying? So cool, whatever you got to talk about, and okay, cool, sign here. So we got to the money. So I sit up in the chair a little bit. All right, here we go. So right now, you make X amount of dollars per hour, being a temp. Okay, cool. Right. All right, so now, by you being permanent, we're going to give you earned a 25-cent shift differential increase. A 25-cent shift differential increase. Man, I know my face does things, and but I'm sure at that time I wanted to be like, all right, what you talking about, lady? So I asked her, I said, is this negotiable? Is this standard? I mean, like, what? Is this special for me? Am I that value to you that you're gonna offer me the quarter? I appreciate it, but I want the other offer. So she said, no, it's standard. The 25 cents was a shift differential. So with being a temp, they were getting, I provided way more value than what they were offering me. Oh, I took it, no doubt, because I was in a situation where I needed that. But all the while, I was working on this with other ventures that I have. So even though I was within the walls and confines of that plantation, my mind stayed outside of it. And that's another point for 1920 workers. Once you get something going on outside that is driving you or pulling you toward it, that's where your mind has to go. It needs to go. And that's where you start formulating your thoughts. You need to birth these ideas into the universe. Set your intentions, write things down, trap them within your soul. Once you take your value, your power, and learn how to utilize it, you're gonna be simply amazed at what the universe does for you. So after that insult of 25 cents, I signed the offer, and I'm just like, wow, what the hell? So and then this is the other kicker. So after the 25 cents, they offer, okay, well, as far as the uniforms. And so, as a temp, you see the full-time employees or the regular employees or whatever you want to refer to them as having, the uniform, the work shirt or the pants or whatever, So 3 months of seeing that, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get that one day. I'm gonna get there. So then when you get there, that's the other thing I was waiting to hear. Okay, what about the uniform? So she says, the uniforms, yeah, we have them. So she said, they're going to be here on this day to size you or whatever, and da da da. So she said, but the company does not pay for that. You have to pay for that. So the funny thing was to me when I heard her and when she told me what I don't remember, but basically the 25 cents shift differential was going to get eaten up by the damn uniform fee, the cleaning fee from the company that does the textiles. And like I said, I look goofy, but I'm far from goofy. So I did the numbers in my head, and I was like, hey, hold on, that's man, hell no. I'm gonna wear the clothes I've been wearing. And so, there's been people, because of that shiny thing or that thing that they want to attain, some chose to get uniforms, and for whatever reasons. But me myself, nah. Y'all been getting over on me now that I know I only get a 25 cent shift differential. I know we're providing way more value than what we're being compensated. But because I'm in my process of building myself up to a point where I'm not going to accept nothing below what I what I feel I deserve and what I know I deserve. This is part of the process. And I said to myself, all right, Keystone, if you can survive here, there's nothing that can stop you because it was a horrible low vibrational frequency area or, plantation. A lot of static, a lot of drama. Like I said, you can say whatever you want to me, just don't put your hands on me. So a lot of stuff. And anyways, nothing happened. So again, that was a decision I made. It would have been very easy for me to slap fools up and choke them up and get into it, but that's not where I want to be. That was a decision. So go huddle up over there and run your mouth, but cool. I have no control over that. And it was an empowering moment when I actually accepted that, dang, that felt good because growing up, I remember hearing, and I know some people as well, especially for men or that when they were boys, when they first heard it, it takes a big man to walk away. That sounded like some sissy stuff to me when I was younger. Like, what? Who? It takes a bigger man to walk away. I didn't understand that. That I'm gonna say I didn't understand. Didn't understand that. It didn't make sense to me. But once I stepped into where I'm at now, it's clear. You have to be able to control your emotions, direct your emotions or your energy, because if you don't do it, somebody else is. Is if you haven't acknowledged it now, how much of your daily routine is your routine or done for you? Like I said already, a third of your day is dedicated to a plantation. You got 16 hours. Out of that 16 hours, you got anywhere from 5 to 8 hours of sleep. So anything anywhere from 11 to 8 hours you have for yourself to do what you choose. You want to learn the piano, you want to learn how to play the saxophone, you want to learn how to draw, graphic design. You could take classes, not saying college, but classes towards something. Grab some books, take some, courses, I shall say. Take some courses, network, YouTube, speak to somebody that you know that's doing a business or a venture or start. Again, as I shared, everybody needs to begin building. Everybody needs to begin building a community. Whatever your talents are, whatever access you have to resources, you know what I'm saying? You build with that like energy, but everybody has to be going in the same direction. And everybody has to be involved. Because to go where we're going, hey, if you don't want to go, I'm not going to drag you. And because the reason why I'm not going to drag you is because when I drag you and it's time to do something, you're not going to do it because all you're going to say is, oh, well, I didn't want to come anyway. So I don't entertain that anymore. As I shared, I protect my energy. I do not allow my energy to go where I don't want it to go. Okay, you run up on me and you got nothing but negativity, you can have that. That's fine. If you can't speak to me as you would like me to speak to you, that's fine. We don't have to have a conversation if we're at work or we have to, do whatever for that moment. Cool. I have no issue with it, but I'm not there to conversate with you. I'm hey, just knock this assignment out or whatever this duty is, and I'm off. I'm not going to sit around and absorb all that you're putting out. Same thing with people around you that does a lot of shit talking. You know what I'm saying? A lot of rumors and so on and so forth. Oh, that's negative energy. Just think of the vibrational frequency. For you to sit around with other people and talk about other people. What's what's high vibrational about that? There's nothing to build from. That's all tearing stuff down. Now, if you're going to talk about somebody, talk about what they're doing good or what you admire about them. Or give constructive criticism. Hey, well, maybe you could do this within yourself, but if you're positive and that person know you're positive, you can approach them with that. But they know you're negative Nancy, the shit talker of the building, and you run up on them telling them what they need to improve on, it's not going to go very well because they already know your MO. So your energy has to be good. Your intentions have to be good. You can't be putting out that negative energy and expect good energy to come back to you. It can't happen. So again, you have to build you up. You have to choose to do it. Yeah, it takes some work, but I tell you what, the extra time, I ain't even say extra time, the time that you use, this is a good one right here. If you took 1 hour a day to do anything for yourself, so whether you're reading, writing, learning to cook, learning to sew, an instrument, a different language, anything, 1 hour a day for 5 days in a week for the year. You don't even have to do it. Just say the weekend, you just taking the weekend off. You're only going to put 1 hour into yourself a day for 5 days every week. Do you know at the end of a year, you would have put, 6.5 work weeks into yourself by doing just 1 hour a day for 5 days for the year? That would accumulate to 6.5 work weeks. So now imagine if you were to take 2, 3, or maybe even 4 or 5 hours, and I'm sure there's not going to be 5 hours every day, but collectively, you averaging anywhere 2.5 hours a day into you. Are you worth it? Are you? If you are worth it, then you should do something about it. Are you satisfied? Are you content? Again, I guarantee you, if somebody over here had the opportunity to conduct business or have the opportunities that they do, they would leave this in less than a second. Less than a second. If they don't, they're telling the story. And again, if they choose not to, that's for whatever reason. But there's nobody that in their right state of mind that truly loves themselves, that knows their self-worth, will willingly stay in poverty. And poverty is a mindset. Poverty is a mindset. You set your mind on being impoverished and poor. In order to change, you have to change the way you look at things. Poverty is a mindset. You have to accept poverty. If you thought highly of yourself, you would not want to be in a situation where your gas get cut off, or you have to run an extension cord from somebody else's house to your house, or just any number of things of people that have a poverty mindset. You know what I'm saying? Get off of work, get drunk, fall asleep. And within that, you say that you want to be a millionaire or successful or own businesses, but you haven't increased your self-worth to reflect your net worth. And then once your net worth is increased, then you can provide that value to the world. You have something to offer the world. And once you have something to offer the world will compensate you for it. As long as you're providing something for somebody else that's going to help them get what they want, whether it's help them improve themselves or attain something, maybe like wealth, you're going to be rewarded by the universe by doing that. What is the opposite end of that? If you're taking from people, again, you're taking, you're not putting back. So the universe is going to give you what you're not doing, which is nothing. It's going to give you more of what you are, which is a impoverished mindset. So you're not increasing your frequency, or you're not improving your conditions. You're not even moving toward the direction of improvement. So the universe has all these things waiting for you. So just imagine what it's like. You get a phone call from wherever you're going, and somebody say, "Hey man, your food is ready," or a lady or whoever, they say your food is ready. Your favorite food is on the table, waiting for you. And what? You traveling through the other cars, and you know what I'm saying, you get up in the house and it's right there waiting for you. The only thing is the universe is doing the same thing for you, but you just can't see it. You just have to know it. You have to know it. And the way that you know it is when you set your intentions and you know it inside of you. If you have any doubt that that's what's going on, then your actions, your processes, everything is going to reflect a scarcity mindset and a fear. Again, I know this is true. So for instance, it sounds out there, but this is what it is. When you speak your words have energy. I don't remember the movie, but I remember to a degree when something was spoken, and that's where people miss out. Hollywood tells you the truth, but they put it in movie form. So it seems like, oh man, that don't seem real. You won't even think it's real because of the technology that they're able to present it as. But when you speak and you say your intentions, the universe starts stitching it. Basically, like just somebody with needlepoint or crochet or whatever. The universe is stitching your intentions. Now the thing is, while the universe is stitching your intentions, what are you doing to get to the point where you can receive what your intentions were set on and the universe finished stitching? So imagine how many things that you created by speaking it. And again, a God generates and creates. The Bible even tells you It was spoken into existence. Spoken into existence. The thing is you witness your miracle every day, but you don't take it as your miracle. You can say something and speak it into existence. That's a God. That's a God quality. I'm not saying you're the God of the universe. Again, God is a noun. It's not a name. Most people have no idea what the name of God is. They're told what it is. That is a noun, it's not a name. Again, if that was his name, there would not be those silly shows with God in it. The God of this God. If that was the name of God. So you are a God if you accept it. So when you speak, you create. Your words have power. Just think about it. With a few words, you could change the energy of a whole room. Is that not powerful? With a few words, you can change the energy of a whole room. That's a God. But you'll discover it if you decide to improve yourself. But words have power. So once you speak that you want something and you intend to have something, the universe is here to give you what you ask for. So my intentions and my conversation, anybody that's dealt with me for some years, at any point as I was going through this process, all I talked about was business, improvement, and growing, doing something that's not on a plantation. That's never stopped, regardless of where I was psychologically and spiritually and emotionally in my life. Getting to this point, that was still my conversation because I knew that was the way to get here or a means to get here. Didn't fully comprehend everything that I was doing, but once I got into where I'm at, everything started becoming clear. Like, oh shoot, so I've been doing this and not really fully comprehending why, but I knew that's the way I was. And for instance, words are power. So early up, I do vinyl, cut vinyl, tees, apparel, and banners. That's one of my things. So this particular time, it ended up, oh my gosh, it's gonna come back to me. But anyways, as far as the energy, setting up your intentions, it's on you. Once you speak it to the universe, it starts creating it for you. So if, for instance, with like if you, how they say, you can't put out what you don't put in. So how you react to things is basically the things that you take in. So if you're around a lot of drama, that's all your TV, your music, everything is low frequency. When the situation happens, your default mode, even though, right now you're smiling and shaking hands and so on and so forth, you're the life of the party. But as soon as somebody says a little something that you don't agree with, you're the total opposite. So you put on that facade, but your default mode is that drama. That's because that's all that you put into you. You watch those shows, these wives and these people that have something and some people don't have nothing. They have not. Like I said, so and so wives of this city and that city, and just so many shows that keep you trapped into that negativity. Yeah, it's definitely entertaining. But again, with your 5,000 plus hours that you have remaining after you done spent all your paid time on that plantation, you're consuming. Listen, consuming. In this world, there are consumers and there are creators. The creators survive off of the consumers. That's the ebb and flow. The creators survive off of the the creators survive off of the consumers. Until you make a change to do something different, you're going to be the consumer. So my thought came back to me. I knew it would. So words of power. When, meeting different business people, saying, along the way of the process, I knew I had something of value that everybody needed. So what I chose to as my foundation, I call my mule of my organizations, the mule, my workhorse. I would meet people and I always had something to offer because everybody always needs something printed, whether it's a T, you need something, a decal for the vehicle or whatever. So within networking and, starting to build, so conversation come up. So, yeah, man, you ever been to the SBDC? So, small business loans and stuff. So by the time I got to that point, again, I didn't fully comprehend everything as extensively as I do now, but back then I just didn't like having to be called a small business. It didn't, yeah, I'm not a small business. I'm just new. And then the other word that went with it was minority. So you're telling me that I had to, just me, some people do it and it ain't, I'm not knocking them. They taken them loans and done whatever they done with them, so on and so forth. But me personally, those are two, I'm not a minority. So that means I pretty much don't exist. I'm just here. I'm not a factor. I'm not important. And then a small business. I'm bigger than a small business. Y'all just don't see it yet. So within that, it's like, nah, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? But we can still build. You know what I'm saying? So it was just me understanding that language, and for whatever reason, for me to come out of my mouth and say I'm a small business. Now what I know is that you become what you speak about. So if I go, from that point leading up to now, yeah, I'm a small business, small minority business, that's all I'm gonna think of it as. Regardless of how big I get, I'm still going to be a minority business owner rather than a business owner. I am a business owner. I'm not a minority business owner. I'm not an owner of a small business because I don't depend on you to tell me what I have. I will share with you what I have. As soon as, meeting people, and so, for instance, meeting somebody and they will say, oh, you're a small business. I correct them right there on the spot. No, I'm not. Oh, yeah, you are. No, I'm not a small business. I'm not as big as probably the corporation you work for, but I'm not a small business. So I'm not going to accept that energy on me. And I get looked at, but I'm fine because I comprehend what I'm doing. I'm protecting my energy. You call me small business, they call me small business. Then after a while, that's the mindset that I take. I adopt that. I accept that. I operate as such. So, in closing, take this 1920 divided by your yearly income, which is going to give you your hourly rate as a 40-hour work week employee. Then take that same wage you make for the year and divide it by 8,760. And the difference between them two numbers, if it doesn't shift you, and it's not all about money, but you are at that job, right? You do go work 8 hours. You do dedicate 40 hours a week. And with the remaining of 5,000 hours for the rest of the year, you're not allocating to you. Again, ask yourself, are you worth 1 hour a day, 5 days a week for a whole year to get 6.5 work weeks worth of value from yourself, or put that much value back into yourself? And then again, like I said, average 2.5 days to 2.5 hours. It don't have to be straight hours, sit there. I mean, you can read a couple of things that are going to improve you, increase your value. Again, when you go sit before the people and you go beg them for money, which is a raise, you want to be able to prove and to show the value that you have. Because if if you haven't shown that value, there's no way they're going to give you money. And again, the rule of thumb for a business, any increase, you have to provide 10 times what we're paying you. That's a successful business model. That may not be standard across the board, but what I'm talking about is something that's solid. So if you come and you demand this amount of money, then you're going to have to prove that you can make us 10 times that. That's the way corporations work. Again, divide this 1920 into your work week. Your yearly wage is 8,760 into your wage. Scarcity and abundance. This is a mindset that you have to make a decision to have. You can't see scarcity. You have to see abundance. Even though you can't see it, you have to know it's there. Liabilities and assets. Get rid of these liabilities. Turn them into assets. Liabilities, you pay out. Assets, they come in. Out, in. Outcome, income. All right, I want to thank you again for your time. I am Keystone, a synthesizer of energy, frequencies, and information that generates increases of consciousness, self-awareness, and self-love for those who do not know who they are or the power they possess. This is Code Red. Thank you. Have a good day.